rather conservatively, just kind of building?
I'm just taking it a run at a time.
I know.
Not one of my better days, but the car is still in the race.
First time you've run a computer. Anything from it yet?
No, we're not gaining anything. We're just getting information is all we're getting to find out where we've been.
And then maybe know where you're going.
I hope so, yeah.
Don Garlett's much more serious than normal. We wonder what he's actually got on his mind as we watch Earl Whiting backing up here. This is, as far as we know, only the second time he has ever raced in competition. Longtime car owner, very new driver.
Well, here's a man who's been drag racing all of his adult life, Joe Amato, the defending Winternationals champion. And this was that final race a year ago. Amato on the left-hand side of your screen up against Gary Ormsby, himself a former Winternationals champion. It was Ormsby off the mark first, the nitro flames out of the exhaust pipe, but it was a clear-cut victory for Joe Amato. He hopes to do that very same thing to Earl Whiting right now, but Whiting may have some problems, some concern with the crew there, Brock.
Right, Steve. It looks as if one of the crewmen is saying, "Shut it off, Earl. We got some problems." Yes, no question about it. Earl Whiting is going to hit the kill switch, and that means Joe Amato gets a bye run here. Now, he'll still try to go quickly because he wants lane choice in that semifinal round, Steve.
And also, he'll want to test this right-hand lane. We saw Gary back, and also Gene Snow have problems in the near lane. Let's see how Joe Amato can handle it as Earl Whiting goes back to the barn.
And a very, very frustrating moment for a drag racer. They build so much adrenaline, so much emotion into these 5 or 6 seconds. And there goes Joe Amato on a bye run.
And it is a beauty, Brock. Amato at 5:46. Jerry Amato very happy with that top of the board, but Amato is not slowing down properly. The parachute is tangled. Joe Amato heading out through the parking lot.
Absolutely a big open parking lot here at the LA County Fairgrounds. Fortunately, a lot of room to shut it down. A 261 mile an hour top speed. So that 5:46 gives Joe Amato the lane choice over Connie Coletta in the Top Fuel semifinals.
And the other half of the semifinals, there's 30 years difference in their age. 24-year-old Darrell Gwynn, 54-year-old Don Garlitz, both from the state of Florida. And in the Darrell Gwynn pit area, his father Jerry putting the finishing touches on that engine, adjusting the valves on the aluminum Hemi racing engine to get ready for the 4th confrontation in the young man's career against Big Daddy.
Garlitz in one of those traditional between race thrashes to get ready for the semifinals here at the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals. I'm Brock Gates along with Steve Evans as Garlitz and his crew put their finishing touches on their 3,000 horsepower top fuel motor. That is Connie Coletta's crew. They too working to get ready for the semifinals. Hard work between these rounds. And now let's go to Steve with another competitor in the semis.
Well, Joe Amato, this is a top fuel dragster, not an off-road car.
Steve, it was a wild ride. It's a brand new parachute. I guess we're just putting a little bit of taxing because of the speed we're doing, and it tore a shroud light on it. You know, it was bouncing down there too. They're pretty good, but we got it stopped.
Well, you knew if you put it in the net, you were done for the day.
Yeah, I know. That's why we didn't want to hit that net. And whatever it took, I was going to drive it back the return road if I had it to get it stopped here.
Well, you know, you played beat the clock successfully. A 5:46 will give you lane choice over Connie Coletta.
Well, that was good. We were just trying to sneak up on a little bit at a time here. Tim Richards and the boys doing a good job. The car went 5:47 3 times in a 5:46. You know, we're in the right bracket if we can keep it there.
Well, the most important thing he had that time were some good brakes.
Yeah, the Hurst Hard brakes definitely do the job.
Well, he had a couple of hairy moments at the end of the track, but a happy ending as Joe heads back toward the pits. And now it's funny car time as we watch John Martin head into the bleach box. And Steve, he has a dubious honor facing him.
Oh, for sure, Brock. John Martin has his toughest challenge in his brief funny car history coming up. The world champion, Kenny Bernstein, will be in the near lane. Martin, only his 2nd season as a driver. He was a car owner originally, and here is the body being latched down on Kenny Bernstein's car, the most aerodynamic funny car, certainly in all of drag racing, as we've talked about before.
And also probably the most high-tech, Steve, with all kinds of computerization, wind tunnel testing done a long time, and certainly the most consistent performing car perhaps in the history of modern funny car competition.
Well, they say there's no such thing as an easy one in drag racing, and that's probably true. But this comes about as close as Kenny Bernstein could ask for. In round number 1, Bernstein ran 28 hundredths of a second quicker than did John Martin. And in this quarter mile sport, that's an eternity, both with the escape hatches open to let a little fresh air in.
Well, John Martin is just going to have to hope for mechanical problems. There doesn't seem to be any question that his car or his experience is able to run against his competitor from right down the road, really, in Upland, California. John Martin, as we said, not too experienced against a man who is the reigning world champion from Newport Beach, California, a former Texan who moved out here to stay even closer to the high-tech world of drag racing.
Kenny Bernstein was the first to wind tunnel test his funny cars, the first to perfect onboard computer science, the first to hide some of his speed secrets under a dirty towel, and for 86, the latest trick from crew chief Dale Armstrong, 3 magnetos. Count them, 1, 2, 3. 3 magnetos means 3 spark plugs per cylinder, right? Correct. 2 of them in the conventional location developed by Chrysler Corporation many years ago for racing purposes. The third one, a little harder to see. It's down under the exhaust header. Let me show you in detail how that works. Now, this concept is only possible using a solid aluminum billet cylinder head like this one designed by Ken Vinny. And here you see the usual spark plugs, 2 per cylinder. Now, the third spark plug, right here just underneath the exhaust port, okay? And here's what the combustion chamber looks like with the 3 spark plugs. Here's the 2 you're accustomed to seeing. Now here's the third one that has been bored in by Dale Armstrong. Now you've got a much better flame front throughout the hemispherical combustion chamber. Now with 1 spark plug, you have to run about 70 degrees lead. In other words, the spark plug has to fire 70 degrees before top dead center of the piston. With 2, you can back that down to about 55. Armstrong tells me with 3 of them, they only run about 40 degrees lead in the motor. The only problem they had in testing, the engine is now so thirsty for fuel that they almost ran the tank dry.
And that is the man who is responsible, and for the most part, for the technology in this race car. That is crew chief Dale Armstrong guiding Kenny Bernstein up into the staging lane. Not only has he built enormous technology into this race car, but the reliability level is awesome. The car simply doesn't break, Steve.
Well, don't you know John Martin in the far lane wishes he had a Dale Armstrong working for him. They lunge into the lights and they're away. Kenny Bernstein out first. John Martin says, you can have it, pal. Kenny Bernstein, low elapsed time of the event for funny cars. 5.60, 252 miles an hour. No taking it easy on Bernstein's part.
Well, Steve, remember that that's only 2/100ths of a second slower than Big Daddy Don Garlett's win in Top Fuel. So he'd be right in the hunt there as well.
Absolutely. What a match race that'd be. I'd buy a ticket to that. All right, here we have got the defending car owner with a new driver. Joe Paisano's car, Mike Dunn, who we've seen many times before, formerly with Roland Leon's Hawaiian car, is at the wheel. His first national event for Joe Paisano.
Paisano, the manufacturer of the JP1 racing engine. Also, this car carried Al Segrini to a Winternationals victory here 1 year ago.
And in the near lane, John Root 4, still looking for that first big one after so many runner-up finishes. Now, John had an easy time of it in round 1 with a fellow named Ray Higley. Now, had he raced his scheduled opponent, Ron Carini, things might have been a little different. Carini failed his show for the reasons we're about to show you. On that qualifying run, it was Carini in the Captain Crazy Thunderbird far lane, Dave Uehara near lane. Carini qualifies, but suddenly in his lane, he has company. He is blindsided by Davey Uehara. No way Carini can see him coming. Right now has to wonder what on earth has happened to me. Here, you see it again. The Thunderbird of the far lane. Right now, Carini knows he had a good run, and suddenly he feels a tremendous impact from behind. It tears the rear wheels off of Carini's car. Davey Uehara's fuel tank explodes. Miraculously, both drivers were okay.
Well, it sort of looked like your basic freeway rear under, except that it happened at 250 miles an hour as both cars slid to a halt, carrying thoroughly shaken race drivers.
Well, Ron Carini is out of the medical tent, and Ron, you appear to be okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, I just don't know what hit me. I couldn't believe that, we just finished this car, and all of a sudden I get something wrapped in the back, and, well, the thing just took off. I didn't, had no control of it.
Well, as fine a race car driver as Dave Uehara is, I have a feeling that whatever happened to his car, he probably had no control over it.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't his fault. He said he thought he hit a light down and it just threw him over the other way.
In fact, Dave Uehara, Dave, I know that when you got out of your car, you were more concerned about Ron's condition than your own.
I felt fine. I was just concerned about Ron.
Do you know what happened?
The car started drifting. Right coming into the first light, I hit the parachutes, and apparently I hit the first light, and that's what sucked me right over the other lane.
So the throttle didn't stick or anything like that?
I believe it was stuck a little bit because I was trying to get off the thing, and it just kept on going. That's when I went for the parachutes, and it hit the first light, and I think that's what sucked it right over there.
Well, race cars can be rebuilt. The important thing is that you guys are okay.
So a tough break in particular for Ron Careni, who is out of the competition. But in this particular case, it leads to this confrontation between Mike Dunn and John Force.
Well, Mike Dunn has had 2 bad crashes in his career. Took about a year off and returns at the wheel of Joe Paisano's beautiful car in the far lane. Near lane is John Force with one of the most talented crew chiefs in drag racing, Austin Coyle. Just a matter of time, the experts say, Brock, before John Force wins the big one. He also from Southern California, an intense competitor who has a battle with that Christmas tree every time in that starting line. Force is dedicated to getting away first.
But not this time. It's done out by 6/100. But it's the big power of John Force that drives him on to victory with a 575, 252 miles an hour. Steve is with Kenny Bernstein at the far end.
Well, we've used that word consistency so much last year, but I guess it still applies, Kenny. Another 5.60.
Well, that's good. Super. Well, it made it through the quarter mile that time without annihilating a piston. Maybe we can work on it some now and go from there.
I know you and Dale were concerned with that number 4 cylinder, and no smoke out of it this time at all.
No, he's been catching up with it every run, and it just seems like it wants a lot of fuel. But, you know, Dale is good at that, and the computer readouts help him to make those decisions, and he finally caught up with us. So it's good, encouraging knowing that we can go from one end to the other.
Is it as exciting beginning a new season wearing the number 1 as it was trying to get it last year?
Oh, yeah, it certainly is. I mean, the number 1 means a whole lot to you, needless to say. And but it's a whole new year, and you got a whole new battle to fight. Another 14 NHRA Winston races to go for, so it's a brand new season, and it's all over, starting again.
Well, 2 more win lights, and this one is yours.
We'd love it.
Well, you've got to label him the favorite, the most consistent funny car driver of them all at this particular point. As we go to the pit area of Darrell Gwynn, the young man from Florida, intent, concerned. He'll face Big Daddy Don Garlits. At Pomona, California, the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals, as we watch one of Joe Amato's crewmen assembling his engine, putting the headers on that cylinder head. This is Kenny Bernstein's Tempo Funny car as one of the crewmen adjusts the magnetos. Don't forget, in both the funny cars and the top fuels, they get a complete teardown between rounds. And now, let's go to Steve with John Force.
Well, John, Mike Dunn was right on those lights. It looked like you had to pick him up half track.
He was hot. We were running just a shade ahead of Dunn, and I kind of tried to, I seen Bernstein spin the tire out there and still run at 60, and I thought, Coyle's got the horsepower in this thing. I can drive it off. And old Dunn, he just kind of stung me there a little bit, and she went out, had the front end up, and I saw the center line. I thought I was going to ram him. I pedaled her a little, and she sat down, and she cleaned up, and horsepower saved me there, buddy.
575.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Can you run quicker to challenge Bernstein if you have to?
No doubt about it. We're just trying to get a couple of laps in here to get this thing where it'll ET, and she'll run 60s. We know that, but when Bernstein spun him, there was no way I was going to put her to the wood here and blaze the tires and get beat up when this round was over. No way.
You heard it from John himself. No doubt about it.
A lot of strategy. You heard John Force talk about watching Bernstein and then adjusting his driving accordingly. That is Johnny West in the famed Hawaiian car of Roland Leong, getting ready to go up against Dale Pulley. And Pulley, Steve, has been running very strongly of late.
Indeed he has, and this is a beautiful Buick Regal automobile, a totally different roof line. I think it's handsome.
Absolutely different, Steve. That same basic body style that Warren Johnson uses on his Pro Stock Oldsmobile Calais. Not quite perhaps as aerodynamic in appearance, but apparently wind tunnel tests indicate these cars are very stable and very slippery.
And in the opposite lane, it's a replica of a Dodge Daytona body for Roland Leong's Hawaiian car with its latest driver, Johnny West. You'll recall Rick Johnson wheeled this machine last year to some record numbers, and there's an old saying in drag racing, if Roland Leong ever had a driver's reunion, it'd be held in the Astrodome. And Johnny West is going to be about the 40th driver that has wheeled for the Hawaiian.
Well, we'll see how he does against Dale Pulley, who, as we said earlier, running very strong, on a hot streak right now.
And Dale will have to do it all by himself this year. His longtime partner, Mike Hamby, has retired. Now, in round number 1, Dale Pulley was up against Andy Ace McCullough, the Oldsmobile body car in the near lane, Pulley in the far lane. Pulley was off the starting line first, pulling away from McCullough, and unbeknownst to Dale Pulley, suddenly McCullough's car turned into an inferno. The blower exploded, savaging the body. The only thing still attached to the automobile, the front fenders, as McCullough wheeled the car off the drag strip, his fire suit smoking.
Well, every blower explosion in big-time drag racing is violent, but this was in the small nuclear category. An incredible explosion that literally shattered the body, as you said, tore it apart. We've never seen a body destroyed in quite the magnitude of this. McCullough now driving literally with just the nose piece hung on the car, nothing else left of the automobile. Fortunately, though, his fire suit and the safety equipment that he carried on board brought him home, and Steve was there.
When you see the video, I think you'll be amazed at how hard you were driving that car in that inferno.
Well, the main thing, I mean, I knew the pulley was alongside somewhere. I knew the guardrail was on the other somewhere, you know, and anything in between, I was trying to stay away from both of them. I left my visor down until the flame went out, and obviously it was, you know, oiled and burnt, and I couldn't see